I'm Kat Miller. Welcome to Passionate Living. Today we have the coolest opening of Passionate Living ever. And when I say cool, I mean cool. It is about 22 degrees with a wind chill of about 12 degrees. And it's a little freezing today, but it's so great to go outside when the snow's on the ground and it crunches under your feet and you get that chill, and then you go back into the house and have a cup of hot tea or hot cocoa. It is the best. So I want to welcome you to our very special episode, because today you're going to get to go behind the scenes of Passionate Living and see a good part of the crew who helped to produce this show and some of what goes on backstage, and some of it's really funny. And we thought we'd share that with you today with this new year and give you a little sneak preview of some things. As well, we're going to meet a couple who bought this gorgeous old mansion. They didn't know what they bought when they got it until they had purchased it at a bankruptcy auction. And when they got into this home, they realized what a jewel they had. And their passion to totally renovate this and turn it into an inn has changed the life of so many people in the community around them. They have become ambassadors for the city of Buffalo. They share the history with everyone who walks through the doors. And it's just a testament how when people listen to that inner voice and follow their passions, they can make a huge difference in their community. You're not going to want to miss seeing this place either. So buckle up your seatbelt and get ready for an amazing ride into Passionate Living.
Welcome to Inn Buffalo Off Elmwood.
Joseph, how you doing?
It's been a pleasure to have you.
It's so nice to see you
good
again.
to see you.
I love this place. I'm so excited to have you give us a tour.
I'm so
today.
honored to have you interview me for this segment, and we're excited to have you guys and share their property with the rest of the world.
Well, shall we go in and take a look?
Sure.
Thank you.
Welcome to the inn.
Wow, I know. I love this place so much. It is just so absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you for the kind words. It's really a pleasure to share it with you and for our guests. It's an amazing place. It has an amazing energy. It's a great way to tell the Buffalo story. It's a part of the Buffalo story. And when you view Buffalo through the lens, which is Inn Buffalo Off Elmwood, it changes your perception of this city.
Yes, it really does. You know, and this is such a special segment for me because I've always believed that a home has a soul. And especially these grand old homes, because the people that built them, that lived in them, weren't taking the mainstream path. They were taking the path less traveled oftentimes. And these walls hold the most remarkable stories from the past that we bring into the future.
Well, part of the Buffalo story is Mr. Hewitt, the owner of this house, he was an inventor. And he was drawn to Buffalo like a magnet to take advantage of the power. Nobody had an abundance of power. Buffalo was the first major city with electricity, first city with electric streetlights and electric trolleys.
Yeah.
Most of the cities around the country and around the world patterned their trolley system after ours. And Mr. Hewitt was not from Buffalo, but drawn like a metaphor. I use the metaphor like a magnet to take advantage of the power. Inventions that helped change the world happened here.
Obviously, your passion for this home has changed a whole community. You and your wife took this on, and now you're impacting an entire community, not just with providing this beautiful history in this home and a place for them to stay, but you're affecting the entire community because you share the history of the city with everybody who walks through these doors, and you open up a whole new perspective and a whole new world for them.
Well, it's part of the Buffalo story, and
Right.
it's quite historical and it's significant. And so, but when you view Buffalo through the lens, as I said before, that's in Buffalo Off Elmwood, it changes your perception, and it makes this a much more desirable place. Much more than chicken wings, snow, and the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
So this is a Hewitt Master Suite. It's incredible. The woodwork is a little bit different. This is old growth cherry.
Wow.
It has a thermostat right behind you that controlled the temperature in the
Wow,
room.
look at this thing. This is gorgeous.
120 years old. This may be the most advanced home built, mechanically speaking, in
At
the
the
world.
time. Wow.
In the world.
And then there's something else in here that's pretty extraordinary.
So Mr. Hewitt lived in the Waldorf Astoria,
Right.
and he came to Buffalo, and he brought with him some of the elements of New York City, including this Victorian needle spray shower. And what's remarkable about the shower is it actually energizes these ribs. It becomes a body shower.
Oh, wow.
And Theodore Roosevelt was inaugurated and actually showered in this identical shower at the Buffalo Club.
Okay.
And lo and behold, one of the first things he did when he became the president is install these showers in the White House.
That's amazing.
The silvering came off the mirror.
Right.
And I was trying to figure out these little knobs, and I unscrewed them, and I was trying to figure out how the mirror is going to come off to get it to change it. And I had a glass guy here, and he said, you know what? This might be a cabinet.
Oh,
So this is a
my
cabinet.
heavens.
Yeah. So
Wow. How cool is this?
yeah.
That is amazing. And would you look at how well crafted this is? You buy something like this now off of, Amazon or somewhere, it won't go up and down 100 years later. What got you into all this? How did you start this project? Because I know when I did it for a little while out in Santa Barbara, it just took me by storm. It just took over my life.
So we bought this property at a tax foreclosure sale.
Wow.
Sight unseen in 2011. So I like to say that this house has taken me on a magic carpet ride. It has made me a historian. It has made me a Buffalo ambassador. It brought into focus so many things, including why my grandfather was here. In 1907, my grandfather came through Ellis Island, typical immigrant story.
Right.
I used to think, oh, Grandpa, we have family in New Jersey and New York City. If you would have stayed in New York, I could have been something. And there's a lot of truth to that joke, but he was in Buffalo because this was the land of opportunity. Mm-hmm. There's an Italian word, I don't know the phrase, about the streets being paved in gold. And if you were a dependable guy, just as a laborer, you can own a home, raise a family, your wife didn't have to work. It was the American story, the American dream. And that's why my grandfather was here. And I didn't understand it until we bought this property at a city tax sale.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Vacuum cleaner?
I like your vacuum system. And your wife is such an amazing part of this project.
Oh, this is all her vision. I'm just her maintenance guy, truthfully. She picked out the colors. She's so appropriate. That's why we are maybe one of the highest rated properties on TripAdvisor.
Wow.
In the country, if not the world. Although air conditioning was invented in Buffalo, it was not invented yet. So if you want to stay cool on a warm summer's day,
Right.
you came below grade, or you went out to the lake.
Right. Made sense. And this was probably quite the hangout, I would imagine, for the gentlemen.
Yeah.
The billiards room.
Yeah, the ladies went upstairs in the ladies' lounge, which is located on the 3rd floor. I call it, it's part of the penthouse, it's part of the Art Nouveau East and West suites. But back in the day, it was when the ladies would go up and do needlepoint.
Wow.
And the men would come down here and smoke the cigars and play pool.
Utterly and completely boring. This is why I became a tomboy at a young age, because it's like, are you kidding me?
So this is the very
Needlepoint?
spot that Grover Cleveland was rumored to have been photographed playing billiards. And this may be the original table that kind of came first full circle. This was donated to us. And this may be the original table from this room.
Wow.
This is crazy.
Yeah. A little pool? Yeah.
Bring it on.
All right. Grab your stick. Look at that shot. off a few balls before.
You made it respectable. They were having fun. They were partying. This house was built to entertain, and it was built to welcome guests from around the corner to around the world. And we embody that here.
Right. That's beautiful. Wow, Joseph, thank you so much for.
Well, it's been an honor
tour.
having me on Passionate Living. Is that right?
It has been an honor of having you on Passionate Living. What a joy to share in this beautiful home and to share your passion for it. What you and your wife have done, and it has changed a whole community and impacted it. Thank you for that beautiful
My
work.
honor. Thank you very much. And as always, there will always be room for you at the inn.
And Joseph is the perfect name for you to own an inn, right?
Yes, indeed.
Thanks. We're excited to bring you this next segment of Passionate Living because I can't wait for you to meet some of the amazing cast of characters who work on this wonderful show. As well, you're going to hear some of the funny stories of things that happen backstage that you don't necessarily get to see on the air. And I think you're really going to love this little story that we put together for you about Passionate Living for the new year. When I came back to Buffalo a few years back to help to support family here after some big changes, I took on this role of working at a TV station, running a TV station. And during the time of the pandemic, the owner said, I felt frustrated because I wanted to do more to lift the community. And he said, well, do your show, do Passionate Living. That's what you do. And I'm like, wow, yeah, I could do the show.
When the show started, it was mostly Zoom and at home because it was in the middle of the pandemic. But now we are going places and seeing things, and it's definitely a lot broader. And it is also now outside of Buffalo and in person other places.
I love the thought that someone might be sitting in their chair watching the show and feeling discouraged or not having the courage to step out to do what it is that they came here to do, what they really love. And maybe one of our guests or something on the show will strike a nerve in them, and they will actually start to live their dreams and to use those dreams to help lift the world around them.
That's the joy I get when I see people coming here that grew up in the projects with me, and they look at me and say, wow, look at them.
Now, I brought us a slingshot.
How's that gonna help us?
Because if we get in a survival situation and we're starving, we get squirrels.
Squirrels?
Okay. I love doing the show and having Rosina involved, my niece. She is just one of the greatest lights in my life. And when we started this project and I told her, let's do a show, and she was like, all right, I don't have to be on camera, do I? She was a really good sport about it. She did not want to be on camera, but she's such a natural. Then we had the station help with some of the editing. I would put together, the spots I wanted, and Tim would make it look good.
One of my favorite parts of editing Passionate Living is Kat wants nearly every segment to end on a quote. And it usually fell on me to find the quote. So a nice little way, a little bow. And it's my little signature on every segment, which kind of helps with the feeling of the show.
And then Sophie lives across the street from me, and during the pandemic she wasn't able to go do an internship out in Cali that she was destined for, and was very frustrated about that. So she started coming to the station with me, and when she came back from film school in Boston, we dragged Sophie onto the team.
I like working on the show because we get to meet a lot of different people who express their passions in different ways. You wouldn't see these people or get to know their stories just every day. I mean, I'm sure all sorts of people exist in the world, but it's nice getting that exposure to new ideas and then new experiences through working on the show.
This amazing young man joined our team who I met through our mutual friend Mel. And he is just a bright light and passionate about doing the show as well, and had such a great sense of how to shoot things in his work and how to edit. And he became like a son to me.
I like working on Passionate Living. I grow as a person, I grow as a videographer, especially with such high standards that Catherine has for Passionate Living, which is a good thing. We reach for perfection, and that really pushes us, the team, me, Sophie, Rosina, and everyone else involved, Tim, to make the show the best version of itself.
I liked when we traveled to Philly for the Natural Products Expo, and we got to see a little bit of the city, and especially when we made the spontaneous decision to go to the Rocky Stairs and race to the top of them. That was a really fun experience, and I made my on-camera debut for Passionate Living, so this is part 2.
The most fun I had in creating or editing a segment was the one at Sweet Jenny's with Rosina,
My least favorite segment was probably the Sweet Jenny spot.
where I, in the background, tortured her. Honestly, it was worth it.
Because if you couldn't tell, I have a fear of bugs. And, well,
Ow! Oh my god, was it a leaf? Ah, there's a leaf. Or is it a bug? Ah, there's a worm. Something bit me. If this is how I die.
my other favorite segment was the Marbon segment on one of the more recent shows.
What's his name?
Refat.
What?
Refat.
Reflex?
Refat.
Reed.
Refat.
Reed Fox.
Close enough. Reed Fox.
I think that was probably the best thing ever. I would say made my day, probably my month. The difficulty with pronouncing his name just felt like it was well deserved.
Rosina had her fair play of revenge. R-I-F-A-T. Rifat, not Refox, not the Rifati, not the Rafati, it's Rifat. Thank you.
So I think working on the show, I've really learned to be more detail-oriented, and I'm still growing to be more detail-oriented when it comes to all aspects of production, because I think to work in this field, there's all the little things that, can be missed, and I think through Kat's guidance, I've been trying to pick up on more and more of them, and hopefully someday I will be able to work on my own show and potentially run without any hiccups.
This is what we do behind the scenes for voiceover.
Yeah, this is our professional voiceover studio right here on Ashland Avenue with our loyal crew.
Kat, as the sort of producer, sort of head honcho, the person who pulls all the strings and makes it all happen, she's always on, always in contact. Early on in the show, every Tuesday when it would first air, she would text me, a bunch of suggestions for changes for the next airing. And I remember one day I was watching a suspense movie, and it was Night of the Hunter with Robert Mitchum. And I was just really getting into it, and then I got this buzz, and I was like, oh, what's that? And I just gave a quick glance, and I was like, all right, it's Tuesday. It must be Kat, and the show must be on right now. I was like, okay, just put it, get back into the movie, and then buzz. I'm just like, oh, man. And it must have been like 20 suggestions. So then I was like, hey, Kat, maybe just give it to me in an email the next day. I don't really need to know right then.
Tim, I just always assumed you were watching the show with me on Tuesday nights.
But the funny thing is I don't actually get the station because I don't have cable. So I literally cannot watch the show.
Well, I got better. I started
Yes,
sending them
yes.
into the emails. We've had so much support through the course of making this show. So many dear friends. The owner of the station, Phil Arnaud, John DeShulo, every one of our crew at WBBC. And then we have this support system around us, like Chuck Anderson and C. Knox and Robbie Konikoff and other friends, David Corbett, just a whole mass of friends who have been involved in giving us stories and helping out from that standpoint.
I'm grateful for the journey that we are in here, especially with my loving soul mom, Kat. She was not only there for me on a professional level, but also on a personal level. It's kind of hard to imagine a life without her right now. We're so attached. It's like now she's my family. She's my soul mom, and I love her. Thank you.
Gosh, guys, slow down.
I know, he was walking fast. I was trying
And
to
we're
keep up.
going uphill. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Repa. And hopefully, from everybody at Passionate Living, we are making a difference in our community by hopefully lighting you, our viewer, up to inspire you in this new year to do whatever it is that you came here to do, whatever it is that lights you up, and then to take that light and to give it to the world around you. That is the ultimate definition of living an empowered life, a dream life. And I hope in this new year we've inspired you to step even more fully into whatever it is you came here to do, whatever you love doing, whatever lights you up. From everyone at Passionate Living, Happy New Year from us to you. Oh my God, I'm so freaking cold. Whose idea was it to shoot outside? I think it was mine. Here
That's
you go. There's the
okay.
mic.
Anything for the shot.
Anything for the shot. Poor Repa with his driving gloves. He's never going to survive Buffalo.
No,
with his
we need to get you some mittens. I think that's the next step.
Mittens. Thank you so much for joining us for this special New Year's show of Passionate Living. And we want to invite you back every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. on WBBZ TV, your true hometown station. As well, if you'd like to see previous shows, you can go to Passionate Living TV on our YouTube channel or passionateliving.com for our website. And remember, wherever you live in this beautiful new year of ours of January, whether it's in the warmth or in the cool of areas on the East Coast like today, remember to get outside and get some fresh air every single day. It not only helps your immune system to keep it strong, but it also lifts the mood to keep your spirits high during this new year where you are going to accomplish amazing things and we are all going to have the best beer in a long time. From all of us at Passionate Living, all of you in our viewing audience, we send you wishes for great health, love, and abundance in this wonderful new year of 2022.